You rehearse the sentence in your head. You wait for the right gap in the conversation, and by the time you're finally ready to say it, the moment's gone. Everyone moved on. So you sit there, holding a sentence nobody will ever hear. If you know that feeling, hear this. What you've been calling shyness your whole life is not a personality flaw. It's an alarm system, and nobody ever explained to you why it got so loud. In the next few minutes, I'll show you what's really happening in your brain when talking to people feels impossible. Why being left out hurts more literally than you were told. And something about your generation that almost nobody connects to this. Stay to the end. That part changes everything. And if this already sounds like you, tell me in the comments. You'll be surprised how much company you have. Shyness isn't something you decided. Researchers estimate about 30% of the difference between people traces back to genetics. The rest is environment, how you were raised, what happened to you, where you grew up. Deep in your brain, there's a small alarm. It handles fear and danger. Scientists call it the amygdala, and that's the last bit of jargon I'll throw at you. From here on, it's just the alarm. Brain scans show that in people wired toward shyness, that alarm is more reactive. A room full of strangers gets flagged as a threat before you get any say in it. So when you freeze at a party, when your mind goes blank mid-sentence, you're not failing at being normal. An alarm went off. That's what alarms do. You just got one with the volume turned up. And you've probably been told at some point that you were being dramatic. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger put people in a brain scanner and had them play a simple ball-tossing game. Partway through, the other players just stopped throwing them the ball. That's the whole experiment. And being left out lit up the exact same parts of the brain that light up when your body is in physical pain. As one researcher put it, the brain makes no distinction between a broken bone and an aching heart. And it doesn't fade quickly. Adults who were bullied as children still showed elevated distress at age 50. The injury was real. It just never got treated like one. Now here's where this stops being only about you. In 2003, 15 to 25-year-olds spent about 61 minutes a day socializing in person. By 2019, 39. That's 158 fewer hours a year around other people. And the drop accelerated right as smartphones took over. 80% of Gen Z say they felt lonely in the past year, against 45% of baby boomers. The most connected generation in history is also the loneliest one on record. But now connected back to the beginning. This is the part almost nobody puts together. When someone touches you, a hug, a hand on your shoulder, it wakes up nerve endings in your skin that send one message straight to the alarm. You're safe. The same alarm, the one already running loud. Being near people is the off switch, and the generation with the loudest alarms is the one that quietly threw the off switch away. And it gets tighter. Young adults prefer texting and get more anxious about calls than older adults do. The reason is control. You can prepare a text, edit it, delete it, start over. Nobody watches you hesitate. Of course it feels better. It's the perfect hiding place. But avoiding something keeps the fear alive. Every time you dodge, your brain files a confirmation. See, dodging was necessary. Nothing bad happened, so the alarm must have been right. It never gets to learn otherwise. So look at the loop. An alarm that runs hot. A phone that offers a perfect escape. Fewer real conversations, which leaves the alarm hotter still. Notice what's not anywhere in that loop. A defect in you. So what helps? Not be more confident. Nobody can just do that. First, how you talk to yourself matters more than how you feel about yourself. Psychologist Christine Neff found that being kind to yourself predicts your mental health better than self-esteem does. Because beating yourself up sets off that same alarm. Replaying an awkward conversation and cringing literally makes the next one harder. Second, action comes before confidence, not after. Waiting until you feel ready delays you forever because the feeling shows up after you move. And third, small, repeated, face-to-face contact. Not go to a party. That's the giant leap, and it backfires the way it always does. I mean something almost embarrassingly small. Ask the cashier how their day is going. Say one thing to a coworker that isn't about work. Take one call instead of sending the text. Every one of those is proof, delivered straight to that alarm, that it was overreacting. Your brain built this alarm out of experience. So experience is the only thing that turns it down. Not understanding it, not deciding to be different. Repetition. And I want to say the obvious out loud, because nobody says it enough. If you carry this, you didn't choose it. Not the brain you were born with. Not what people did to you in school. Not the decade you grew up in. None of that was yours to pick. But the next 60 seconds are. So find one interaction today you'd normally avoid. The smallest one you can find and take it. That's the whole assignment. Nobody stops being shy in one night. It happens the way it always happens around here. A little better than yesterday. And that's not a slogan. It's literally how a brain learns it's safe again. Tell me in the comments what you've been